Yeah, honestly, it would make a lot of sense within the amount of international tournaments that are happening these days. It would make a lot of sense to have a substitute visa issues. For example, if, let's say, A couldn't go this time, they could bring in Fish and just mess up their composition a little bit around that.
Exactly, because in the previous tournaments, like the Eastern Clash or the Mid-Season Brawl, Chinese teams were kind of unfortunate when it came to playing in their full roster. They had to use players like Simba or even Shy, who's unfortunately no longer in the HGC, and those were not part of the original roster. As such, there were communication mistakes, players might not have been on the same page, on the same skill level. In the case of Simba, we can't really blame him too much because he's a manager for SBT, but yeah, poor Simba, man.
Yeah, like we've seen that with an appropriate substitute, a Chinese team could do really well in the international stage. CE came into the Eastern Clash with a substitute, and they performed really well. They weren't able to make it too far, but they were able to take games off MVP Black.
I mean, semi-finals is pretty impressive.
Semi-finals is very impressive, exactly.
So there we go. What are we going to see here in game number 2 now between SoA and Beyond the Game? House rule? Tacit or Auriel? Anyone? General's agreement?
But they're taking their time with it.
I actually think we're going to see something else now.
Indeed. Nope. They baited us.
So,
too much baits today.
Yeah, sometimes teams, of course, like to take their sweet time, even on obvious bans or obvious picks, simply due to the fact that that gives them more time to communicate for potential future steps. So, which first pick do we want to go for? Which second ban should we go for? What's our overall draft blueprint? So, yeah, it's not them trolling us, although sometimes I suspect that to be the case. But for the most part, it's just further discussing and getting more time out of it.
Yeah, indeed. More time to talk about the other picks, which is why we often see, especially the ban picks, because they have a slightly longer timer, at least the early ones. So you get a little bit of time to discuss the rest of your draft strategy.
Alright, and that's pretty much what SoA is going to do here, especially if we see that Auriel. Come on. Hey! Come on, lock it in.
That's not an Auriel. Nope, that's an Auriel.
Mega debated. Mega
debated indeed. Oh well, that is what we end up seeing. The Auriel banned out. Was their banning correct? Was their original thoughts correct? Are we going to see like a Sonya in the first couple picks for BTG? Let us see.
Yeah, map is Infernal Shrines here, by the way. We didn't mention it, but it's a very safe thing to have. Uther first pick yet again. So, I don't know what it is that Chinese teams see in Uther these days, especially when his straight-up nightmare is still so popular in the meta. What I would love to see from SoA now is something that really cripples the enemy team's formation. Like, pick Arthas and Lunara. Get yourself that unfair advantage bonus right off the get-go, and then, to top it off, maybe go for an Illidan later on, because Arthas fulfills the role of the greatest antagonist of Illidan as well. I think that's what I would like to see at some point, to really go for those mind games and really pick counter after counter.
Counters are cool. Preemptive counters are also very fun, so I agree with you there. That would be an interesting way to do it. We'll see if they do execute that. For now, though, a usual strategy here would just be Rhaegar and Valor, or Rhaegar and Lunara, etc.
Exactly. There goes the Turiel and the Sonya after all.
Wow, so what was... So the ban was... They thought the enemy would pick it, but they want it more. So
I think it was just a misclick, maybe, because they wanted. Maybe. They probably spoke about Sonya. Maybe there was like a click on her by accident. I don't think they wanted to ban it.
That would make sense. So Sonya is picked up. She is definitely one of the best shrine clearers, so she's going to work very effectively. Tyrael with Sanctification as well is going to give them huge fight control. They are aiming for longer sustained fights.
Exactly. Longer drawn out battles is definitely what they are trying to achieve here. So that is, if we had a player like Tank Ovo in their roster still, I would have totally expected a Kalthus to show up now, because I think Tyrael plus Sonya is a frontline that is very hard to pass by for the enemy team. And then if you go for someone like Kel'Thas, maybe even a Jaina or a Chromie in the backline, it can really bring the pain. Chromie in general, I think, on Infernal Shrines is just so powerful. No matter which heroic ability you go for, you can always get tons of value. Temper Loop if the enemy team doesn't have a cleanse or a panic button to really save that target. And of course the Slowing Sands to really ruin the enemy team's day when they're trying to go through certain choke points. So, Chromie, show us some love.
Go on, give us the Chromie. I'll take it as a ban, just so it has some presence in the draft.
Right. Speaking of Chromie, by the way, yesterday I played my newly maxed out Paladin in World of Warcraft. He's now level 110. Felt very proud about it. Level it straight up from level 1, no boosters included, nothing. And there's this quest line for Chromie. I'm not sure if you played it, but you basically have to prevent Chromie from dying in the future, and it was so frustrating. Now I can understand why people don't like her as a character in Heroes. It was so frustrating. I do not want to repeat that quest again.
I only know of one Chromie quest, and it's where you basically turn into time detectives.
Yeah.
Chromie and player character, time cops.
Yeah, I think that might be the one that I'm talking about.
It might be. I don't know. I can't remember the end. Either way, with Leoric banned out, that would have been a very solid against Tyrael and Sonya. Both not the highest hit points heroes, but enough to give that percentage damage from Leoric some reasonable effect. Greymane is removed to remove more burst and another hero who would synergize so well with the Tyrael from the side of SoA.
Petri, if you can guess the race of my 110 Paladin correctly, I'm gonna buy you a mana potion the next time we meet.
So it's Alliance, I assume.
That is correct.
Okay. So that limits it down to, half of the race, just under half the races. What type of Paladin is it?
Why would you even want to know that? I'm a Protection Paladin by trade. So full tank mode.
Protection Paladin by trade, because I can break it down and try and get in your mind. Okay, so Alliance races / neutral races. No, not Goblin. That's a Horde. Foolish chat.
Can Barbarians become Paladins? I don't think so.
Don't think so. No, they're Monk. That you're trying to trick me. Gnome for the sake of hilarity.
No, wrong. I'm a Draenei.
Mini Paladin.
I'm a Draenei. There we go.
Fair enough. I like the idea of a gnome or a dwarf. Like, dwarf paladins are fairly common. A gnome paladin sounds quite amusing to me.
There we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, enough of World of Warcraft and paladin shenanigans. Speaking of paladins here, there's only one, and that is Uther. Although I would still... I'm kind of doing an exertion again, but I would love to see the Diablo 2 paladin at some point. That was my baby boy. I leveled him up all the way. That was good.
Also apparently human, dwarf, and Draenei are the only ones who can become paladins. Did not know that. So, well, I just narrowed it down to the Alliance characters and then tried to get in his head. But no, I should have known. I should have known. Either way, with Rhaegar and Ludara on the board, there's a lot of slows and once again a lot more heroes who can fight in the Sank, although Ludara is not really required for certification fighting, but she does still gain advantage from the slow from Tyrael's Eldrin's Might. Now we see Stukov, first one today, and Malthael, like, 4th today.
Finally, we see Stukov making an appearance, because it is beyond me how teams in China have not yet realized how strong the AoE healing by Stukov can be against a Lunara, and I think that's exactly what they needed to really support Uther in a way, because he struggles so much against Lunara. So I love it. I love it. Similar to Chromie as well, Stukov can basically shut down enemies from entering through a certain choke point near the shrines because of his silence zone. To be honest, Tetra, I think this is a damn scary comp that BTG brought to the table here.
I just like the idea of eventually at some point in a quick match or in a hero league or at some point we're going to have a Kel'Thas who takes like the infinitely spreading living bombs and Stukov who's going to take the infinite healing and they're just going to get stuck both on the same thing and there's just going to be two heroes standing next to each other consistently healing and taking damage just forever.
Perpetuum mobile, something that will never stop. That would be quite awesome to see. Now we see double support against double support here. Brightwing Rhaegar versus Stukov and Uther. Who's gonna reign supreme? Kind of hard to say, to be honest, but I would give sway to BTG here. I really think the Stukov can make all the difference.
Yeah, like, it's a Sank comp without any of the heroes, except for Sonya, that really, really benefit from Sank.
It's so weird, isn't it? When you go for those Death Ball compositions, you normally, almost always, go for a solo support, unless you have a Karazim in the mix. Because that guy is so aggressive, you can even put him into those comps. But I'm a little bit worried. I'm not sure if Sanctification or these so-called Death comps are actually, Death Ball comps are actually going to achieve anything here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, I mean, I'm interested. Honestly, looking at the comps, I wouldn't hate a Judgment style. Like, Judgment into Leaping Strike, Sonya Leap could just blow up a single hero. And then you use Brightwing Emerald Wind to get you all out again. Wouldn't hate it, but it's unlikely to happen.
Alright. Let us know in the chat, guys, which draft you prefer. I think it's always nice to hear some other opinions other than just mine and Tetris, although I value our opinions very highly. I think we've done a good job for the most part.
I don't value mine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I mean, if there's one person who I know is untrustworthy, it's me. So...
No, I think we're pretty spot on with most of our drafts. Very rarely did we get completely proven wrong. However, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who's gonna win or tie this series up between SoA and Beyond the Game. One last time we go to battle together here in week 4 of HGC China with SoA on the left-hand side. In the blues, Fei Yi plays Sonya. Uncle G is on the Rhaegar. TY is on the Brightwing. Spark PC is rocking that Turtle. And Molly on Lunara.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is BTG with A on Uther, 619 on the ETC, ZJZ on Malthael, MJ on the Stukov, and ST is playing the Vala.
ST on the Vala, that's always a scary sight. ST, I think, is actually one of the hidden gems, if you will, in HGC China. What a fantastic ranged assassin player. I would love to give him a little bit more exposure, so let's hope that he won't disappoint us in that game. Stukov, this time, not going for the stackable quest on his W, going for the increased radius on the silence.
And speaking of that silence, huge value onto Faye. Dropped very low, but Faye is able to stay alive. Unfortunately, now someone is almost certainly going to die. Lunara's about it. They weren't able to get a kill. Lunara's on the enemy team. You're going to die. Someone's getting taken down. That was unfortunate. So yeah, very nicely done and good early start. I like the fact that A is on the Uther though, I will say. Considering he played Genji last game, once again showing an incredibly flexible flex player.
Exactly. A little bit too ambitious here, BTG that is, in that first skirmish in the middle. It's actually amazing to see how the phenomenon of just brawling in the middle of the lane or brawling at vision towers has basically translated even into pro play. It's just something that's always been there in Heroes of the Storm, even the alpha phase, but for some reason, although it actually doesn't accomplish a whole lot, teams just still like to do it.
Quick question while lading setups happen, because this is like we're going to see a... Oh, hang on. Yep, as soon as it gets out. What is your most frustrating memory of Heroes of the Storm? I know that sounds bad, but... Because I have mine, which I personally think is a good frustrating memory.
My most frustrating memory of Heroes of the Storm, it had to be... Oh boy, I remember now. It's not too long ago, actually. We had this moment, or this meta, I should say, where it was the Holy Trinity. You either get Earthquake, Rainer ulti, because it was bugged, or Diablo Apocalypse. And if you didn't get one of two of those, you basically lost the game.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that one. But my favorite one would be... Tech Alpha, first couple days of release, Uther could still use all of his basic abilities in death mode, including Hammer of Justice.
True.
So on with Cursed Hollow, the tribute would spawn, I think, a little bit earlier, so everyone would run to the tribute. And one team would inevitably die. That would usually include Uther, and Uther would basically just sacrifice himself on the objective and just hammer the objective because his cooldown was lower than it took to channel.
Yeah.
So the fights for the very first tribute on Cursed Hollow, every single time in Technical Alpha, would last between 2 and 5 minutes. It was so stupid.
Yeah, I think people who started playing the game like 1 year ago, maybe 1.5 years ago, they don't even realize how broken Uther was in the alpha phase. It was insane. Now, speaking of things being insane, Sonya is getting taken out here by a beautiful silencing zone by Stukov. Fantastically done, and BTG is in full control. And look at that healing. They don't even care. They don't care about the Pokepoke coming in from Lunar. They all heal it away. Stukov MVP.
As we do see BTG taking the first Punisher of the game. They're even going to pressure it. He runs around the gate to look to see if he can pick himself up a cheeky stun.
Yeah. Very cheeky stun possibility there as well, but he's now behind enemy lines. Doesn't get punished though because SoA is just too intimidated, and rightfully so. They're continuing to pressure other lanes though. Sonya already in the top lane, Brightwing being cheeky in the middle, but I think BTG is going to seize that initiative. They're going to seize the moment and destroy that bottom fort.
They shall in fact get the fort. Very little that can be done about that. The minions will finish it off even if they hadn't. BZ takes a multi-shot, so everyone else is able to get out. So we are seeing one good spread coming in for Stukov, which gives him the lower cooldown on his healing pathogen, and of course a 40% mana restoring if he infects 3 targets.
Hey Tetra, is that a new Tyrael skin? Or was I just never lucky enough to really see it?
I think it's an older one. It's definitely a 2.0 one, but it's not new.
I must have missed it all this time then, but it looks kind of fancy. It looks cool. I like it. You know another very frustrating moment in Heroes of the Storm that I had very recently?
Well, I know several, but tell me.
I had someone in my team that was a die-hard Horde fan, and we had a little bit of a discussion in draft because he was Garrosh and I was Varian. He was like, yeah, Varian is way cooler, and you know me, right? And Garrosh, no, yeah. Garrosh is the better guy, you know. And then I ended up dying to an enemy gank in the early game, and all he had to say about it was XD. That felt very frustrating.
To be fair, it sounds like you started that one.
I may have.
You brought this terror upon yourself.
Alright, Tetra, we see double cleanse on the side of SoA.
Yep, and single-handed protection on the side of BTG. I'm sure if Stukov unable to take cleanse, he instead has the standard within my reach. Extra range.
Very cool to see. Now, is there enough crowd control abilities to justify a double cleanse on the enemy side of BTG? I think there is. Uther stuns, ETC stuns, Vala even potentially going for the Rain of Vengeance, the slows coming in from Stukov and his W. I think it is actually a smart call to go for the double cleanse here. But as we see, SoA is going in. I'm not sure if that was a smart call.
Reasonably good zoning silence for a while, but it got denied by the polymorph from Brightwing. This is just a full team fight happening here. Tyrael gonna blow up on A. A gets deleted, but 619 is creating some good disruption. Once again, a beautiful silence. Faye is so low. ST refuses to give up. Hungering Arrow could bounce to Faye and get the kill.
Molly
sends it to Molly, and Molly is able to get out. That is a 2-for-1.
Yeah, a nice preemptive cleanse here by Molly. The mercenary camp is still standing, by the way. Nobody actually took it.
Wait, did it die, or is it?
No, the fallen shaman is still available. It didn't die.
Oh no, FJ has found the entire enemy team. ST rotating up to save it.
Okay, classic China, man. Ignore the objectives and only go for enemy heroes. Only go face. There we go.
Only go face, the most smork of smork strategies, as we do see ETC diving directly onto the objective, because that's where the most heroes are, and he's trying to take them down here, looking for some lockdown. Right now, 17-13 in terms of, I'm just going to call it collateral damage at this point, because they're clearly not going for them purposefully. No, they are. We do so we're actually doing a much better job of clearing this time. Yeah. 26-15. But BTG gaining position, looking for Sonya. Whirlwind's good. Faye healing reduction. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Faye gets out. But the positioning has been given over, but that's enough to force BTG back because level 10 is available for SoA.
Yeah, level 10 is available, and that's all that SoA was waiting for. And I love this spot-on decision-making here by Beyond the Game. Immediately retreating. For the moment, I was like, why are they retreating? They're all full health. But, of course, I didn't realize that level 10, in the meantime, had been reached. And as such, the Sanctification could have all turned it around. The Wrath of Berserker, very scary to face on the Sonya side. So that gives them a Punisher, and that's going to be a Purple Peter, a very dangerous one with all those arcane turns on the ground.
Yep, they do a lot of damage if you get caught in one when it spawns, or get a crossover from two of them. Punisher dropped to half health. Fort shall drop here as it does get a quick stun onto Valor. I like how the Punisher will sometimes walk further backwards, make it look like it looks like it's trying to juke you. It will walk backwards, like, to just get into a better position, and then the jump aggro will pop, and it will just jump back in. It looks like it's trying to trick you, just like, oh no, I'm done. Aha! Got you, friend.
In the meantime, SparkBZ is trying to scout ahead a little bit, trying to keep the enemies busy and dismount them so that the mercenary camp could have been taken without any issues here. Now, we see the mosh pit come in. Petra, I like that, because with the exception of his Sonya Spear and maybe the Polymorph, there's not a whole lot that can stop him from channeling those guitar solos. And we saw previously that 619 was already considering going for a cheeky flank. So already SoA, they need to be on their tippy toes. They can't let themselves get surprised by it. Because look at that. Once you have that mosh pit down and you follow it up by the lurking arm, there's no way you can get out of him. It's just crazy.
Very true, but we have to remember that we have seen the most anti of anti-synergy with these two exact heroes comboed together, ETC and Stukov, where the flailing arm will be put down while the mosh pit is activated due to lack of coordination and lack of communication. So hopefully BTG will be on point in their comms to prevent that kind of disaster happening.
Yeah, the flailing swipe should definitely not be used to whack enemies out of that mosh pit zone. Meantime, SparkBZ doing a good job soaking. I think BTG was actually expecting him to be there, dropping that hungering error to not face check. Super solid, but that fort actually ended up dying because SoA very cheekily went for that mercenary camp that was still lurking around.
Yes, they did. They were able to finally finish off the remaining Shaman there to get some pressure, but BTG cleared it up reasonably well, but that did take out the top fort.
Now, Beyond the Game, they realize there is no way we can contest this shrine because of level 13 not being here, and TY needs to be careful. He sees the ETC come. Nice, I like that. I like that Emerald Wind really shutting down that gank. That would have been a disaster otherwise. And immediately, SoA's retreating, only leaving Faye on the Sonya there to clean it up, but defending S4 is a must-do if they don't want to take too much damage in the bottom lane.
I completely agree with you, though, that Brightwing Emerald Wind was incredibly clutch. That was very much a situation of, what's the best reaction here? Do you try to run away? Nope, ETC will catch you because he's mounted. Do you try to ice block? That delays the inevitable. Only correct move here. Do you try to teleport? No time. Only correct move is the Emerald Wind. Very quick decision making by Brightwing. Well done.
Yeah, well done indeed. And the decision making by SoA was definitely spot on. Not just the Brightwing. The way they rotated, leaving Sonya there at the shrine, so smart. And now they have enough time to really defend this as well. Look at that spread out damage by Lunara. Holy Jesus.
Yeah, that is doing a lot of damage. This silence is dropped to try and prevent Lunara.
Sonya with a flank.
Micro. Yeah, we're seeing SparkBZ trying to put on the pressure here as Faye is found 619 off to the side, but it is ETC. He's able to drop a good face melt and disengage. He's also potentially about to take a really unsafe route. He's changed his mind, going to rejoin up with his team, and they're going to defend from inside the base. Double stun from the Punisher, but ETC face melt gives his team some breathing room. Triple root! Sanctification! Trying to turn it round, but everyone's able to disengage very quickly. Tormented Souls to try and turn it round, though. Emerald Wind into the root, and SoA are out of there.
I actually thought they would be able to deal more damage onto those structures, but it looks like they had a little bit of respect here for that ETC combo with the mosh pit. Keep in mind, only a couple of ultis were used there. Uther's Divine Shield is still available, the mosh pit is still ready to be used. Overall though, I like the call by SoA as well, not going super greedy mode and pulling back when it was no longer safe.
BTG has completed Prog Rock, a little bit of extra help Against that Lunara damage, they're going to try and kill off Rhaegar here. Beautiful Rain of Vengeance, body box galore, and bye-bye Rhaegar. Sonya, however, has found a delicious Stukov and is attempting to turn this into a 1-for-1. Everyone grouping up on Sonya, trying to focus her down, and they do. The rest of SoA have just straight up retreated.
Poor Sonya, completely abandoned by all of her teammates, sacrificing her life for a good cause. But as this game goes on, Tetra, I think Beyond the game is stabilizing more and more. True, they're still significantly behind when it comes to structural damage, but in XP, they're dead even, and those teamfights, in my opinion, look better and better in their favor. Like, ETC, true, hasn't landed those big moshes, but they don't even need to. The flaming swipe here preventing ETC from falling because he didn't have any cooldowns left to really knock Lunara back or power slide to safety.
Lunara being incredibly annoying though. Liberal use of W to continue keeping that damage up and keeping that slow going. I'll be very interested to see what talent Stukov goes with. Whether he's going to go with something like Universal Carrier again, like we saw yesterday, or whether we're sticking with Pox Populi, keeping that very high healing numbers due to
wouldn't really mind that, to be honest, against the Lunara. I think the permanent healing can really give you more value in a longer team fight than Pox Populi, but both are really good, don't get me wrong.
Like, Eye Infection doesn't seem like it's going to be that useful against anyone who isn't Sonya. Super Strain, maybe, but again, only against Sonya.
Yeah. What I do like is the lurking silence here coming in at level 13, which basically causes the lurking arm to persist for 1.5 seconds, I believe, after being interrupted. So that's really sweet. Correct.
The lingering spines, they linger. And they are very good at zoning, because like you said, as we see repeatedly here, Brightwing just polymorphing Stukov to remove that zoning potential. This is, so having that gives you a little bit more time to do that zoning. Here is that 13. It is in fact going to be the Pox Populi. This is the more standard one overall. We've only seen Universal Carrier once, but the amount of damage that's going out, we'd rather have more healing than more consistent healing.
Yeah, that silence prevented Tyrael from using Desanctification, so a lot of damage taken. Now Desanctification, beautiful disengage. Everyone is safe from the Tormented Souls, but so much damage still done. Thanks to that Malthael, Sonya in trouble, gets shielded by Rhaegar. Can they stabilize? Can they come back? SoA, that is.
SoA really handled that really well, but the difference is their health bars are low, and due to that Pox Populi and the huge healing, BTG are able to easily take that fight. But like you said, top keep is dying. There are minions there. It might live. You can't exactly see the health of the camp.
Silence here used defensively so that SoA could no longer continue the chase. And look at the constant back and forth. Stukov out heals all the damage that Lunara is able to do. The Marsh Pit is still ready. It just needs to be used.
Down goes Sonya. ETC is looking for a situation, but everyone's dropping low on both teams. Tyrael looking for an explosion, can't even get the kill. But Top Keep did finally go down. Minions were barely able to kill that off with like 2 minions left. As we do see the Punisher moving into mid lane, but that's not what BTG want. They know that there is a bot lane that is slightly less defended due to their push earlier.
Very true. They want that keep, and they want it right now. Tetra, that Pax Populi, by the way, which was the 16 talent for Stukov, just paid off dividends. I mean, there was no way for Lunara to ever hope to crush those health bars, because the Stukov heals are too powerful. Pax Populi, of course, causes the healing over time to persist after activating your trait, so it's even more efficient against all those poison spread out damage.
I like Pax Populi. That is a good one. It makes it sound like a comic book event for the people, by the people. Pax Populi. But yeah, Pox Populi.
Oh, damn it! My bad. I didn't even realize it.
I was trying to be subtle, but no, I love it. It's really good.
Now with
BTG able to rotate around, picking up mercenaries with one keep already down, it's 1 keep to 1. And actually, just look at the map. It's just inverted. Both teams have taken down one full lane, and whichever lane that is, they still have a fort in.
It's so hard for SoA to nail down the Stukov either. Like, oftentimes Stukov is extremely vulnerable to that hard engaging heroes, like let's say a Sonya Leap. That could have been an option maybe to circumvent that problem. Illidan with the Hunt, for example, can be a real menace. Genji, all those heroes that are hard to catch, but if you don't threaten the Stukov, he's just going to keep everyone's safe. He's always going to channel those silences in those choke points. And even if you now do get close to him, though, I feel this flaying swipe can really just thwart all your plans. So I think SoA is in a little bit of trouble here. They really need to make sure that they get a good fight going with an early sanctification maybe and just snowball from there. It's really hard for them, though. Have you seen a single mosh pit here in this game, by the way?
Not yet. It's been held very patiently. It has not yet had the opportunity to be used. And that's interesting because right now the teams are spectacularly even with BTG just with a slight XP lead. And both teams are going to take down the other's final remaining fort. A is the one tanking currently on this one. Is actually dying, but he's able to swap the aggro.
That's definitely a better trade for SoA here. That fort is probably not even going to fall, but the tower line is. Good call by SoA, getting themselves a little bit more closely to that level 20. The poison going to finish off the tower. And Tetra, this has to be the most close and balanced game we've seen all day. Like, I can't tell you who's going to win.
We called it. They're exactly even on XP. The Punisher is either going to go and kill a keep, or it's going to go and put pressure on core.
SoA's posturing up for a core.
Both teams, neither team wants to... Yeah, is this actually a backdoor?
This is a backdoor attempt because they realize that the entire team from BTG is trying to go for that shrine in the bottom lane. They need to... Oh, no.
Yeah, they baited. What they've done here is actually really nice. They kind of baited. They're not baiting enough. BTG didn't bite. BTG
they can't
start it. Mercenary camp's being taken. Round 2, baby. And it's literally just a game of pros here. Who wants to take the risk the most? Who is
they're committing! So are you fools!
HGC is committed. Both teams committing. Sanctification about to go down. No Rain of Vengeance. The silence prevents the sanctification. Right, we're getting annihilated.
Use it!
The huge Rain of Vengeance is flailing arm into the keep. And we do see it. Rhaegar go down as well. Lunara is destroyed. Spark BZ, final remaining member, gets deleted. And BTG handling that masterfully.
Spark BZ, you had one job. Just drop the sanctification before you could have gotten interrupted.
He got stunned. He tried so many times, but it could have been preemptive.
The thing is, what Spark BZ was trying to do, he was trying to land the holy ground first, and I think that was a mistake. You drop the sanctification first, and then, when you can't be interrupted anymore, after dishing out all the damage, you drop the holy ground, and then you prevent the enemy team from following you. So unfortunately, he decided to go for the wrong rotation, for the wrong skill rotation. He decided to go for the riskier one first, and then it didn't really pay off. But as it is, Tetcher, BTG, they're trying to seal the deal here, going for the core. It falls down to 50, only Brightwing left available, and that is...
No, not useless talent. Mosh! No. He still can't mosh. He tries at the end. But that is GG. BTG take game number 2, take a 2-0. And with that, they move within 1 point of challenge the team in second place.
Only in China will you see those all-in calls like that. In fact, there was no need for SoA to fully commit like that. They could have continued this mind game. They could have rotated down to the shrine again. Maybe BTG would have gotten...
Go back and forth, play the port game. If they commit to the objective, then you go in, you have to do some damage to the core. You don't even have to finish it. Do some damage to the core, pull back. But just use the XP, the fact you're right next to where your opponent's minions spawn. Just farm that up, get 21st, and then either commit to core or go back and actually defend your own base.
Exactly. But they took the risk. Unfortunately, they were not successful at taking home the game because... as we said, just some slight mechanical issues. I think with that holy ground blocking the way after the sanctification expired, they would have had maybe enough time to finish off the core. I think it dropped down to 40%. Would it have been enough? I think their core racing was actually fine. Sonya is, like, next to Illidan, one of the most deadly heroes when it comes to crushing those.
Yeah, they didn't execute it.
It was clutch. But as it is, BTG catching up to CE. Only 1 point separates those two teams from each other, and as such we have a very tight second and third place situation here in HGC China.